1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey sprinters, it's Janae here to brighten, enlighten, and ignite your day. Week 2, power of integration, and day 10, time blocking. So that's exactly what I did to tape this session today is I blocked the time. So notice I have the same shirt on from yesterday because I actually blocked the time to tape 2 together at the same time, and even though I'm running really tight on time, I decided to keep my commitment and I blocked the time out to get it done. I didn't have time to even change into another shirt to let you know it's a different day, okay? But I'm making a point because we need to know our time is so precious, and that's where this comes in. This is one of my favorite examples of a story that Harvey Mackay shares, and I have to read it to you because I would do injustice in how he explains it. Time is priceless, so try to spend it wisely. A friend of Wally's was at home one Saturday morning last spring playing with his ham radio. He came across an old-sounding chap with a tremendous signal and a golden voice. He was telling a fellow ham operator something about 1,000 marbles. Wally's friend was intrigued and stopped to listen to the conversation, which went like this. Well, Tom, it sure sounds like you're busy with your job. I'm sure they pay you well, but it's a shame that you have to be away from your home and your family so much. Hard to believe that a young fellow like you should have to work 60 to 70 hours a week just to make ends meet. Too bad you missed your daughter's recital. Let me tell you something, Tom, that has helped me keep a good perspective on my own priorities. You see, I sat down one day and I did a little arithmetic. The average person lives about 75 years. Now then, I multiplied 75 times 52 and I came up with 3,900. Which is the number of Saturdays that the average person in his lifetime lives. I then took me that I was 55 years old to think about this in detail, and by that time I had actually lived through more than 2,800 Saturdays. I got to thinking that if I lived to be 75, I only had about 1,000 Saturdays left to enjoy. So I went to a toy store and I bought every single marble they had, and I ended up having to visit the toy store 3 times to get enough marbles. I took them home and I put them inside a large clear plastic container. Every Saturday since then, I have taken 1 marble out and I've thrown it away. I found that by watching the marbles diminished, I focused more on the things that are really important in life. There is nothing like watching your time here on earth run out to help you get your priorities straight. So let me tell you one more last thing before I sign off with you and take my lovely wife out for breakfast. This very last morning, out of my container, I took out my last marble. I figure that if I make it until next Saturday, then I've been given a little extra time, and the one thing we can all use is a little extra time. And I hope, Tom, that you'll figure out how to truly spend that extra time. Isn't that a powerful story? I love it, and ever since I've heard it, I've really taken it to heart, and I've shared it with many of the different audiences that I speak with, and I want to share it with you, and I really hope it goes straight to your heart. Because there is nothing more precious than time, and it is the one thing we all have equally. We all have the same amount of time in a day to spend. The quality and what we choose to spend it on matters, and in the end, some might get the 75 years. My grandma's 96. My other grandma died when I was only 6, and so we don't know how many marbles we'll have, but we can sure choose how we're going to spend those marbles. And that's what I want you to think about, is being able to understand this law of something called Parkinson's Law. It just means that the amount of time that you have expands or contracts to what you give it. So I decided to test it out with doing this. I really should be heading off to a meeting that I have right now, but again, I time blocked this time to do the video, and I said I need to do whatever it takes, hence not change, do some things to get it done. And so I'm expanding my time. It's like a time warp that will expand and contract depending on what you give it. And I don't think we realize how often we think something needs to take hours to get done when really we can get it done in a snap if we truly focus and we time block it out and we are intentional. That's why that's in week number 1 is our intention. Okay, so we need to block and tackle. Time blocking is the key to everything. I've heard so many productivity experts, professional development experts say time blocking is key. So what does that mean? Okay, last time we learned about the burners. Now you know those 4 burners that are important. Now you need to make time for them in your schedule. So what does that look like? This is what I want to kind of share with you. And I have a download for you that you can personalize. So I'll have a personal example and then a template that you can download. So here it's basically a document where I have what week it is, because it's really good to schedule your time on a weekly basis. What is my weekly challenge? The one thing that I need to make sure, the most important thing to get done this week. And then I've gone ahead and I've listed the times from Monday through Sunday, 6:30 a.m. to 12:30, which is kind of the time frames that the average person might be up or not. And then you block out the time that is not available to work on your one thing. So you notice at the top there, mornings are not available because from 6:30 through 8:30, it is time with the boys, getting them ready to school. And then once they get home from 3:30 pretty much to 8:30 is blocked out for time with the boys. And then I have the section for John. And then I see my open time. So when you start to look at it, you realize that's not a lot. And actually all this should be blocked out because I really try to prioritize family time on the weekends and not work. And when you see this, you're like, whoa, I don't have a lot of time to truly work on this. So great, I have this though, and it is amazing when you block it out and you give yourself that extra time, what can happen. Because when we get focused time, it expands and multiplies, and you want to have the margin. You don't want to all of a sudden be in a roll with something and boom, you have to take off to your next thing. So really think about how you can block out chunks. Okay, so you need to block and tackle. First, block out the time, and then you need to tackle the one thing that matters. What is the one thing that I can do right now that is easiest and most effectively will get me toward my number 1 goal? I'm going to repeat that. What is that one thing that I can do right now that is most easy and effective to help me get to my number 1 goal? So you start that with your what's that weekly challenge, and then each day, then you want to do that. You've blocked out the time to say X amount of time to X amount of time, and that's what I did. I said in this next hour, here's what I'm going to do to take 2 days to get ahead a little bit and do that. And this is all the time that I had. And I was committed to getting it done. So as soon as I'm done, boom, I'm gonna race out and head to my other appointment. But our time is precious. So I want you to think about how can we use that time more effectively than we ever thought possible. So your 1, 2, 3, choose what's best for me. Your 1 and done is to go ahead and to get your time symbol. So do you have marbles that you could use like this that again visually put out in front of you? Or could you do this? And I would like you to do is, maybe in the long term you could do something with how many Saturdays you have left there, but here I want you to do for the 45 days. So we're already 10 days into it. So for the next 35 days, can you have 35 marbles or stones to go ahead and either put in or take out to see where you're at? And this is fun because this is a bag of stones a girlfriend made for me. And And it's fun because each stone that I take out says something different. So this one says balance on it. So I can also take out a stone and think about something that's important too. So what is your symbol? That's your one and done. Number 2 is to customize your weekly templates. You'll see my example there, and then go ahead and customize it and fill it in. So for the next weeks here, from week 2 and on, use this template. You might use other planning tools, but for this program, as we sprint ahead, this one is really important. So please use this template to block your time. Then to tackle it, I would encourage you to go ahead and write on this sheet. In fact, I'll change the template and I'll go make sure I write the key question to ask for you on that. And then your 3 is key, would be if you haven't yet, I'd encourage you to go and complete the freebie that I created around this concept of the time bending formula, how to jumpstart it and save that hour a day so that you can use it toward this. It is fabulous, and it has some wonderful tips and equations and a formula that will free up more time than you ever imagined possible. So that's your 3 is key for me. Our time is precious, and we have so much time that we've been given, and we need to remember how precious it is and know that every choice that you make and how you use your time makes a difference now and later. So from my heart to yours, be love.